talk to you about our coaching and mentoring offer. Some of you may already take us up on the offer, and most of you probably don't, but that's what we're going to talk to you about today. If you haven't worked with me before, I tend to work on people and organisational development area programs, projects, organisational culture, leadership development, team effectiveness, that kind of work. All right, so why are we offering coaching? We're offering a combination of either coaching or mentoring or shadow consulting, which sounds really cool, and I want that, to all of our current consultants and associates. I'm not going to read off the slide. I think you know that. Does anybody not know what coaching is? Okay.
Do we have any coaches, mentors or shadow consultants in the room?
Yes, we do. I'm one of the coaches. There are also another couple of coaches who you will see in a minute, but we also have some of our shadow consultants in the room. Over here, Aidan and Jane are shadow consultants. So why are we offering you coaching? Because we want you to be as effective as you possibly can be. We believe in coaching and we want to make it available to you. Also, it can be a bit of a lonely job depending on the project that you're working on, and having somebody to talk to offline, whether that be a coach or whether that be a mentor, we think is going to be a good thing for all of our associates. Some of the areas that a coach or a mentor could help you with: leading, challenging, influencing stakeholders, working with multidisciplinary teams, stimulating new behaviours, helping you sometimes to walk the talk, because it's one thing knowing what you want to have in your head in terms of, you know, working with the actual teams, but sometimes the situation is quite challenging and you yourself aren't actually exhibiting the kinds of behaviours that you want your teams to be exhibiting. So we're hoping that coaching, having a mentor or having a shadow consultant will help you as consultants to be more effective in your roles. Okay, so our offer is one, and it's probably going to be telephone or Skype, because our shadow consultants and coaches are all over the place, and so are you. If you can arrange it that you're both in the same place at the same time, there's nothing to stop it being face-to-face, but it's probably going to be telephone or Skype. So one coaching or mentoring session for every 20 days worked as an associate in a well, it's not in a calendar month, is it? It's just over that 20 days. So for example, and that's free of charge, so that's on Red Quadrant. If you've done 3 months or 3 times 20 days, 3 coaching sessions. You could, if you then, your project comes to an end and you wanted to carry on with that coach, but you could continue to pay at our very subsidised discounted rate, which is not a lot compared to what you'd pay for an external coach out there on the market. You can pay for yourself and continue that relationship, or you could just leave it and then if you start another project, pick it up again. Okay, so the idea is, as all coaching, it will be confidential. So you can bring to coaching whatever you'd like, but obviously Benjamin and management at Red Quadrant would like it to be about your work with Red Quadrant, because that's the kind of deal. You may get some input from your manager on the Red Quadrant project that you're working on. You may not. And what we don't want is for the coaching sessions to be used as your route to giving feedback to other people in Red Quadrant, as a way of sort of bypassing that, you know, your own personal responsibility to have those difficult conversations if you think they might be difficult. And I'm sure your coach would, if that conversation went that way, that your coach would steer you in that direction anyway. Okay? So there are 3 coaches available to you in the short term. If we have a huge demand, then we have other coaches that we can draw on. So Molly, Helen and myself, we are coaching internal Red Quadrant associates at the moment. We're all accredited coaches. I think that's the most important thing, and we've all worked in various different areas. If you want to pick a coach, you can do. The matching process will also be depending on their availability as well. So I can't guarantee that if everybody chooses Molly's always going to be available, but please do have that conversation with me in the first place as the coordinator. We've also got shadow consultants and mentors available to you. Now, I might...
Why is that? I've got a question mark.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yes,
It's very appropriate.
because he's that kind of guy. No, I don't know. So clearly I shouldn't have question marks for Arthur, but yeah, it's kind of appropriate. He calls himself a consulting contrarian. I don't think I'm labelling him there. That's definitely what he calls himself. We also have Aidan and Jane here in the room who are systems thinkers. And, well, do you want to say something yourself?
No.
Okay, all right.
Without being contrarian, I'm generally different to what anybody else is thinking. So it's, if that's useful to people, that's useful to people. If you hate it, then don't choose me.
Yeah.
And the original idea, which may or may not come through in those conversations, is that most of the problems in projects don't arise from the project themselves, but from the context that the project is sitting in, and that telling the story of your project to somebody else, as if they were a shadow consultant, a consultant to the consultant, might help you to think about, address, understand that context. We'll see what happens if you choose this option.
And certainly get you perhaps thinking much wider than maybe you would be. So it's a different approach. It won't necessarily be coaching, but it will definitely be stretching your thinking, and I'm guessing you guys will act as thinking partners to the consultant as part of whatever challenges they're having in their projects. Okay, so evaluation. If you do take us up on the coaching offer, at some point, probably 2 or 3 sessions in, we will send you an evaluation form. It's not going to be lengthy, but just so that we're getting your feedback on the coaching and we know whether or not it's working, and it's worth our investment, I guess, as well, because we want it to be. There's not just a question in there about how's it working for you. There's also going to be a question about has it changed how you're interacting with the client in any way as well, so we get to know whether or not coaching is actually having an impact on our client delivery as well as our associates. Supervision. So certainly the coaches in the team will be having regular supervision. That's just best practice, really, to make sure that we are aligning the quality of our delivery, and also if any themes are coming out of the coaching, anonymously and confidentially, we can discuss them amongst ourselves first of all, and if there is a systemic issue within Red Quadrant, we're going to use that as a learning opportunity as well. So we'll be able to report that back, but clearly anonymously. Okay?
Debbie, you're getting quite over your time.
So, if you wish to discuss coaching and mentoring, please get in touch with me in the first place, and yes, we're looking forward to coaching and mentoring and shadowing you. Yes, okay. Thank you. Okay.